You deserve to be put 6 feet under if you get aggressive or violent towards a woman simply because she rejected you. What's going on, YouTube? You guys are tuned into another Q-Pill reaction where I'm always analyzing and satirizing the repugnant realities of humans in nature and dissecting the dimensions of moronic fuckery that are currently plaguing modern society, from degeneracy and delusion to insurmountable ignorance and pestering scientific illiteracy. And today I have a dose of moronic fuckery, tragic in the form of a girl who rejected the romantic advancements of a guy that she befriended, killing her. Yes, that's right, deleting her because he simply could not accept her rejection. Let's get a dose of this shit. Now, I wanted to react to this story because it highlights a very pervasive phenomenon, seemingly from my observations, that I have been observing, especially on TikTok. I have been seeing a plethora of videos of women who have been secretly recording guys, strangers, who have been approaching them with romantic or sexual interest, and they've been rejecting these guys, and guys have been responding with hostility and an inability to accept the L. And this is honestly one of the most infuriating phenomena to me because it highlights why women are justified in their fear of being approached by men, especially when they aren't sexually interested in the men who approach them. Because as all men should be aware of, it should be inherent. You are not entitled to a woman's body. A woman is not obligated to like you back. She doesn't have to find you attractive. She doesn't have to find you appealing, appeasing, enticing, or anything else that you would like for her to find you. Regardless of what you're willing to do for her and regardless of how much you invest in her, if she offers you the opportunity to get to know her, you spend money on her, you wine and dine her, you guys are texting, talking, she still reserves the right whenever she feels like it, for whatever reason, whatever ick, whatever turn off is present in the situation that warrants her being turned off, she still reserves the right to forego the opportunity to want to develop anything further with you or have sex with you. And it really, really pisses me off as a man who understands that, for one, when I like a woman, it's so much better when the woman genuinely and authentically, organically desires you and therefore gives it to you because she wants to, rather than trying to convince her as to why you deserve it or why you think you should have it. It's so much better as a man who understands and respects that more because it makes me feel better about myself. It's so much better for me to appreciate that as a guy who operates that way. I can't imagine being a guy, especially a guy who understands we consume all this red pill content, and one of the few truths that exist in the red pill content is that you can't negotiate genuine desire. As a guy who understands that, and as a guy who is aware that other men seem to claim that they understand that, why would you even want a woman who rejects you? Why would you continue to pursue a woman who rejects you? To be overtly rejected, where a woman tells you, I don't see you in that way. I only see you as a friend. I have no romantic interest in you. I don't want to have sex with you. And still attempt to pursue her. Not only attempt to pursue her, but when she reminds you yet again that she does not see you that way, she's not romantically interested in you, she doesn't want to have sex with you, and you throw a hissy fit, you get aggressive, you start insulting her, trying to bring her mentally down to the level you currently feel as your ego is bruised or damaged, or you resort to violence where you hurt her or even delete her, you deserve to be put 6 feet under. You deserve to be put 6 feet under if you get aggressive or violent towards a woman simply because she rejected you. I can't think of another domain in life where men struggle with humility and accepting defeat, taking the L, than being rejected by a woman. Now, I understand when a woman rejects you, she's essentially saying you are not good enough to inseminate her. But at the end of the day, at its core, men initiate with women. We pursue women because we want to have sex with that woman. And we want to have sex with that woman because we feel that that woman is attractive enough to copulate with and reproduce with in most cases. She's essentially saying that your genes are not enticing enough for her to want to copulate with you. And that can be extremely insulting to the male biology, to the male brain. However, that can never warrant aggression or violence. I'm going to share the story with y'all because I think this is a prime example of what I have been seeing occur more often than I would like to see occur in these TikTok videos, and I've seen several of them where women will secretly record a stranger approaching them. He's sexually or romantically interested. She rejects him, and then he gets hostile. It's the hallmark of being emotionally immature, not having dealt with women, and if we're being quite frank, being psychopathic. Because your brain has to be fucked up for you to think that rejection equates to violence on that woman because she doesn't want your fucking penis in her vagina. That's all it boils down to at the foundation. Let me share the story with y'all. A man in Minnesota has been charged with shooting his friend through the right eye at close range per police, purportedly because she didn't want a romantic relationship with him. Jose Luis Lopez X, 27, was charged Monday with second-degree murder for the June 16th shooting of Kaylee Grace Arceth, 22, resulting in her death per a press release from Hennepin County Attorney's Office. His bail has been set at $2.5 million per ABC affiliate KSTP. This was a terrible instance of extreme targeted violence that took Kaylee from her loved ones, said Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty in a statement. Thoughts are with her family during this extraordinarily difficult period. Our office will prosecute Mr. Lopez X to protect our community and hold him accountable for his actions. The probable cause affidavit released Monday details what investigators discovered after police first became involved on the case on June 17 when Arceth's family reached out for a wellness check after she failed to report to work. Family and friends had attempted to reach the victim per documentation, but the last anyone had heard from her was the afternoon of June 16th. Richfield police officers arrived to find her car in the parking lot and her apartment door locked. A locator app on her phone showed that it was inside the apartment, so she failed to respond to the knocks. Officers obtained a key from the apartment manager and gained access. Inside, they found what they described in their documentation as a gruesome scene. Arceth was found face down on her living room floor in a pool of blood with a apparent gunshot wound to her head. Investigators determined that the bullet had entered her right eye and exited the back of her skull, with police determining she had been shot at close range. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Police were able to narrow down the likely time of death due to Arceth's after-work plans on June 16th. She left work at 4:26 p.m. per the affidavit and made her way home. Just before 5 p.m., a friend arrived to pick her up. After 20 minutes unable to reach the victim via text, the friend told police she went to the door and knocked, which was corroborated by the neighbor who opened their own door. The friend left around 5:30 p.m. but contacted the victim's father via text to alert him of their inability to make contact with her. The neighbor told police they heard yelling coming from the apartment just after 4:30 p.m. At one point, they said they clearly heard the victim say, "How could you do this to me?" They reported hearing a male arguing with her and then heard someone leave but did not see that individual. Friends of the recent victim told police that Arceth had recently met a man online who went by the name Louis. Police were able to identify Louis as Lopez X. They determined that the pair had spent time together in person as well and that Louis bought Arceth things on shopping trips, but the relationship was not romantic or sexual per the affidavit. Investigators found Arceth's computer logged into Snapchat where she shared a best friend badge and had a streak that had just ended with Louis. After her death, Louis sent no further snaps to the victim, police determined. They began exploring messages with Louis leading up to her death, where they uncovered a seeming frustration growing between them, with Louis asking for a romantic relationship and actual dates, and Arceth responding that she only wanted a friendship and did not feel a romantic attraction to him. Louis wrote that he wanted to see more effort from her in their relationship per the documents. Arceth asked Louis if he was available on June 16th to help her with her motorcycle per the affidavit. Defendant offered to pick her up that night after work, and victim stated that she would let defendant know about his suggested plan, police noted. At 2:55 p.m. on June 16th, Arceth wrote, "I did enjoy hanging out with you, but I don't have enough mental capacity for any type of relationship right now. I'm trying to figure out myself as well as manage my relationship with my parents, and I'm already overwhelmed with stress." Louis replied per the affidavit, adding, "I just want to be there for you when you say you don't want any other relationship, but I feel like you're just looking for something different." When she said again that she just wasn't ready for a relationship, he replied, "Sorry if I've been pushy to hang out, but I can tone it back and we can just text and keep being that person we can talk to like we were." He then asked if they could talk about it later when they could both focus more, acknowledging that he knew of her plans with a friend later that evening. He said he bought her a gift and it was in the mail, per the affidavit. Their final exchange came at 4:06 p.m. when Louis messaged her, "Well, have fun," and she responded she would try. At the same time, police tracked Lopez's ex-phone location, which placed him at her apartment building starting at 3:38 p.m., so he sent the last message from there. Police determined that his phone stayed at her apartment until 4:49 p.m. It then left, presumably on his person, and went to a hardware store, timing it to the same time the neighbor heard someone leave the apartment. At the hardware store, a man matching Lopez's ex's description purchased beverages and steel shoe covers. His phone next pinged in West Bloomington at 5:19 p.m. and stayed there for several minutes, so police went there. At that location, they detailed recovering 2 bags of discarded items to include 16 rounds of 9mm ammunition, a blue utility shirt, sunglasses, empty box of gauze, blue disposable gloves, a pair of shoes, and a hat. In nearby trash bins, officers recovered a plastic bag with wipes, masking tape, rubber gloves, and packaging for the sunglasses, gauze, and gloves. Surveillance footage from a nearby megastore captured the defendant around noon, per the affidavit, picking up many of these items and wearing the same clothing he was captured at the hardware store wearing. After obtaining a search warrant, police detailed arriving at Lopez's ex's home on Thursday as he was getting into a blue BMW sedan. He first started to drive away from his home before turning around and approaching one of the unmarked police vehicles, per the affidavit. As he neared officers, he held up his phone as if he was recording the undercover officers, the probable cause affidavit reads. The document states he was ultimately boxed in by police and taken into custody. They note he did not inquire about why he was arrested, told officers to hurry it up, and seemed unsurprised. Police reported finding scratches on his chest and puncture wounds on his forearm. Inside Lopez's ex's home, police found a Glock 9mm firearm and a red dot sight adapter plate, as well as a tactical media acquisition kit, which included camera accessories, hard drives, and flash drives. When processed and Mirandized, the defendant reportedly told investigators that he wasn't going to answer any questions, but that they could keep talking and maybe something will slip, per the affidavit. He then asked for an attorney. An obituary for Arseth describes her as a vibrant spirit with a very bright, sassy, and caring personality. Kaylee made a positive difference in many people's lives and will be deeply missed. She always told people, "Well, you're stuck with me." The irony is that she is now stuck in our hearts forever, the obituary reads. "We will never stop until we find justice for you." And honestly, because of cases and occurrences like this, female fear of men approaching them is absolutely justified. I will never feel any different. This is why women have a heightened fear response. There's no level of rejection that men can experience that would compare to a woman's life being taken because she rejected a man. Being told, no thanks, you're ugly, get the fuck out of my face, you thought, or anything else that men find offensive or insulting when women have an attitude in the rejection is in no shape, form, or fashion comparable to a woman being hit or her life being taken simply because she doesn't want to be with you. And in this case, they had built a friendship. Of course, Louis wanted more, but she got to a level of comfort with him to where she trusted him enough to come over her house. And just the levels of psychopathy that men can demonstrate in cases like this, when a woman expresses that she's not romantically or sexually interested, and then a man gets violent to the point to where he deletes her, is exactly why women walk around with a fear of being approached by men. And anytime a woman tells you, I'm just not ready for a relationship right now, of course that means with you, because if she liked you, she'd want a relationship with you. If a woman hasn't slept with you or reciprocated any of your sexual advancements, she isn't talking to you with affection, she isn't indicating that she has any affinity for you or attraction to you, then that means it's not there. At that point, you as a guy can make the decision to continue dealing with that woman or to let that woman go, because you don't have to be a woman's friend just because she says we can be friends. You know that she's putting you in the friend zone. Why would you continue to entertain the idea of being just friends because you honestly believe that you have some way of working yourself into her heart? It's not going to happen. In most cases, it's not going to happen. Take the L and get the fuck on. There is not a single excuse. There is not a single reason, a single motive, a single emotion to where it's justified for a man to take the life of a woman simply because she does not want your penis inside of her. Men who do that, they're the scum of earth, and they demonstrate exactly why these women should have never even allowed them to get close, even in the form of a friendship to begin with. Because saying we can be just friends can still end up in tragedy as it did in this case. And it's unfortunate that men who can't handle rejection exist. And I would hate for this to be a woman that I love, my mother, my sister, or even my own girl, dealing with a guy who simply can't accept rejection, and it results in him taking her life because she told him genetically that he wasn't good enough. And instead of realizing that there are millions of other women on the planet to pursue and continue trying to initiate romantic and sexual interest in, he chose to have a psychotic breakdown and take her away from her loved ones simply because he couldn't handle being told no. It's disgusting as fuck. That's all I have for this dosage. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Stay Q-pilled, stay dangerous.